All right, today we're doing something a little different. Think of it like we're unlocking a brand new skill tree. But forget about crafting potions or forging swords. No, we're going way beyond that. We're diving into a tutorial for, seriously, one of the most powerful mystical abilities out there, spiritual alchemy, and how to literally materialize objects from thin air.
So, get this. Ancient manuscripts say that the Rosicrucians of the past, well, they used to materialize a rose right out of thin air just to prove they were masters. I mean, talk about a legendary feat, right? This is like the ultimate achievement, the final boss skill every high-level player dreams of, creating a perfect rose from nothing. That completely messes with what we think is possible. And you know what? That's exactly what we're going to dig into. Okay, so the big question is, how is that even possible? How do you go from an empty hand to holding a real physical object? Let's be clear, this isn't some simple abracadabra magic spell. Now, to pull this off, you've got to understand the fundamental physics of this reality. You have to learn the rules of the game.
All right, so here's our quest log for today. First up, we'll look at the ultimate goal, the alchemist's feat. Then we'll get into the lore and the rules of the art. After that, it's time for your first mystical quest. And finally, we'll cover how to level up your skill. Let's get started.
First things first, the lore. You know, just like in any game, before you can use some crazy advanced ability, you have to understand the world you're in, right? And the core principle here is that the physical world we see around us, yeah, that's not the whole story, not even close. So what is materialization really? Well, simply put, it's the power to work with something called spirit energy to create a real, tangible object out of the invisible world. Think of it like a master-level crafting skill. But here's the cool part. Instead of using stuff from your inventory, you're pulling raw, invisible energy directly from the environment around you. And here's the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. The visible world is really just the invisible world in a super dense state. You heard me right. All matter, everything you can touch, is just extremely condensed spirit energy. It's kind of like taking ethereum mana or chi and just squeezing it, compressing it, until boom, it becomes a solid object you can actually hold in your hand. And what's really wild is how this idea kind of lines up with modern science. I mean, some scientists actually theorize that our whole universe started as this huge invisible cloud of energy that eventually condensed to form all the matter we see today. So this mystical game mechanic we're talking about, it actually has echoes in real-world cosmology. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so the lore is fascinating, for sure. But let's be super clear. This isn't science. This is an art. And like any art, it has its own strict rules. Every powerful ability has limits, you know? It's almost like there are patch notes written right into the fabric of reality, and you absolutely have to know them before you can even think about mastering the skill. So yeah, this is not an unlimited create anything cheat code. Not at all. The rules are crystal clear. Rule number 1, and this is the big one, you cannot create life. No plants, no animals, nothing. That's an energy that's just way beyond human ability, okay? Rule number 2, as a beginner, you're limited to simple, homogeneous objects. Think stones, a piece of wood, sand. It takes some serious mastery, some real skill, to create something as complex as a flower, like those Rosicrucian masters we talked about earlier. All right, enough theory. Theory is great, but now it's time to actually play the game. It's time for the tutorial level, and the source material gives us a really specific first experiment to try. So let's go ahead and accept our first quest, the sand tutorial. Okay, here's your mission briefing step by step. Step 1. You need to create what's called an alchemical cloud. You do this by focusing and condensing spirit energy until you can actually perceive a haze right in front of you. Step 2. You use your willpower to compress that haze into a dense egg-like shape. Step 3, and this is the most important part, you use intense, powerful visualization to literally transform that energy egg into grains of sand. And finally, step 4, check for proof. You look for a thin film of actual, tangible sand on a white piece of paper you placed below.
So why sand of all things? Why sand? Well, because it's the easiest crafting recipe for a beginner. Turns out, when you condense spirit energy, its natural default state, its path of least resistance, is to become a mineral. So you're not fighting against the energy, you're actually working with its natural tendency. That makes it the perfect starter material for this quest.
Okay, so you've beaten the tutorial. Maybe you've even manifested a few real grains of sand. So, what's next? How do you go from being a level 1 alchemist to a full-blown grandmaster? Well, now we gotta talk about leveling up your skill and what the path to true mastery looks like. And look, the source material is super direct about this. There are no cheat codes here. This is not a simple party trick you learn in an afternoon. It is a very difficult art to master. The key stats you need to grind and level up are patience, perseverance, and a ton of concentration. This is a skill you have to work at, practicing again and again to build up that mental and spiritual strengths.
So in the end, that's what it all boils down to. Focused will transforming the unseen world into the seen world, which brings us to a final thought experiment for you. If you could truly master this art, playing by the rules of course, what's the one simple object you would choose to create from thin air?